The 69th chapter of the Quran doesn't open with an argument or a theory. It opens with a single, undeniable word dropped into the room: Haqqah, the inevitable reality. Rumi taught that this reality presses into the present, an inevitability overtaking our worldly illusions in every breath we take. As humans, we naturally build our entire worldview on structures we assume are permanent. We anchor our identities to our careers, our physical strength, the status we hold in our communities, and the concrete cities we live in. When these foundations inevitably shift or break, the brain experiences a state of acute disorientation. We call it existential anxiety, but it is the physical sensation of an assumption being proven wrong. Surviving the arrival of the inevitable reality requires a specific kind of internal clarity, a state called ikhlas, or deep sincerity. It's the ability to look closely at your life and distinguish between what is truly eternal and what is guaranteed to shatter. If you want to know what happens when a society deliberately refuses to acknowledge this ultimate reality, the text provides historical case studies as evidence. The first is the ancient civilization of Ad. They looked at their massive cities and technological strength and arrogantly asked, "Who is stronger than us in might?" They relied entirely on physical dominion. In response, they were utterly decimated by a relentless, stripping, freezing wind that left their monumental structures empty. This chart illustrates the Dunning-Kruger effect, perceived competence plotted against actual knowledge. It forms a steep peak where people drastically overestimate their strength. Ad mistook temporary power for ultimate reality. Blind to warning signs, they faced catastrophic failure, plummeting steeply downward when reality asserted itself. Arrogance is a far heavier burden than simple ignorance. The ignorant person simply lacks information. The arrogant person actively rejects the exact evidence required to save them. The people of Thamud and the empire of Pharaoh possessed clear guidance and intelligence, yet their societies still collapsed. Their failure was a matter of the will, not a lack of information. Pharaoh chose to maintain an empire of illusion over undeniable truth. He ignored the signs brought by Moses, and his supposedly untouchable dynasty drowned, leaving behind the scattered ruins of ultimate human power. Cognitive neuroscience distinguishes between passive disbelief and active denial. Deliberately choosing blindness over known facts, preferring the illusion, activates different neural pathways, particularly in regions associated with value-based decision-making. They didn't miss the truth, they evaluated it and chose to walk away. The classical scholar Al-Qushayri recognized the gravity of this choice. He taught that this deliberate physical and neurological ruin is merely the outward manifestation of an internal spiritual death that happened long before the wind or the water ever arrived. True spiritual survival requires adab, a proper, humble etiquette with the divine. It's the willingness to recognize and accept God's signs before the destructive consequences are written into reality. After laying out these historical mirrors, the Surah shifts its focus forward. It moves from the ruins of past empires to the promised future, describing the moment the final trumpet is blown. In a single crushing blast, the mountains are pulverized, and the sky itself splits open, frail and unable to hold. Everything we assume to be permanent and immovable in the physical universe is exposed as entirely frail. When our core assumptions of stability are violated on a cosmic scale, the human mind struggles to comprehend the sheer lack of ground beneath its feet.
The ultimate terror of this inevitable event is realizing in the moment of dissolution that you anchored your entire existence to an architecture of illusion. In the midst of this cosmic shattering, verse 17 places 8 angels supporting and carrying the throne of God. The mystic philosopher Ibn Arabi noted that the number 8 represents completeness. Even as the physical world fragments, divine order holds perfectly. It does not shake. This brings us to the core principle of tawakkul, or absolute divine reliance. For the believer who knows these realities, there is deep comfort in knowing that when all other structures collapse, this ultimate power endures. O you who will split the sky, let me not build my life on what will split. When my arrogance makes me deaf, strike the ground beneath me with truth. And when everything falls away, let me be among those who held to you.
When everything temporary finally splits, the only true safety is reliance on the one who holds the throne. Thanks for watching. This script was adapted from human research and structured with AI assistance. See you in the next one.